GPDL. Welcome to the first ever solo show. I figure, I've been running these podcasts for a couple days, a couple weeks. I brought Nick on. Nick sparked some unnecessary controversy. With the love of his team, I think it's just maybe the balloon head thing in general. So I really wanted to deep dive and give the people what they want, which is a Colin Cowherd, Mikey Miss, over the top type show. So first, let's talk about the rankings. And Nick put himself, obviously up there. I put myself up there. And some people believe that it may be a little premature for the Sons of Anarchy of Washington to be, interchangeable at 1 and 2. And I did some thinking, and I listened to some greats like Mike, Jared, well-respected guy like Moo. And you know what? They're right. Antonio Brown, he's probably not playing this year. Why am I even giving that any kind of glimmer of hope for the Sons of Washington team? So the reality is he's got Cook and Madison now. I'll give him credit. He got Madison. Chubb, who I think is definitely taking a step back. ESPN projections also think so because of Kareem Hunt and Stefanski's offense. Bob Woods, good, not great. He's a middle of the road team. Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. Sons of Washington are middle of the road. So here are my rankings. Number 12, far and away, you got Gal. Gal is the worst team I think we've ever seen in any offseason. And I think he knows it. I think he was talking the other day about, or maybe today, about doing a complete drop. I would suggest that. Go get as many $30 to $40 players as you can, control the draft, and get your Jujus, get your Mosterts, get all these guys, and start clean. I think Gal needs a rebrand. I'm hoping that he launches a new uniform soon, just like the Rams and the Falcons and all these other teams that might have been, a little stale. Maybe Gal goes with a new team name. I think maybe the D of Mike Jones has run its course. I would think that Gal could do something a little bit more creative. He's a staple in the league. I don't think, from my conversations with the commissioner's office, I don't think he's on the hot seat. It's not one of those scenarios. I think it's more so he needs to get back to form from year 1 and year 2. But Gal, number 12. Number 11 is a tough one for me because I don't know where, and just so we're clear, I'm taking into account how people have done in the past and what they're capable of as a team. I don't think it's Judd. I do not think Judd is number 11. People would say that history repeats itself. And if you don't get in front of it, it's going to repeat itself, right? Number 11 right now is out for justice. And here's why I say that. Rusty and I had a conversation. We did some reporting together. He came off of a championship year, the best year that any team has ever had in this league, and we'll talk about that later. But analytically, the best year ever. And not, that year he tried to outsmart himself a little bit and start fresh. I think he only had, David Johnson, maybe something like that, or Zeke, I forget. But he's in a similar predicament. He sold the form a couple years in a row to win the dance, and he got there. He did get there. He just came up short. And I think this could be a rebuilding year. But right now he's got Breeze, he's got Kelsey, and he's got Josh Jacobs. I don't know if he's going to keep that whole crew. He could also go with a Gal approach and try to control the draft. But right now, based on those 3 players and the unknown at cap, I'm going to use this as a motivating tool to out for justice. Don't let year 3 happen again, which I don't think it will. But right now I got Rusty at 11. He knows he won't finish there, though. No disrespect, Rusty. Number 10, I got Moo. But Moo's not going to finish at number 10 either. Moo's going to have a bounce back year. But currently as it stands, I got Moo because of the fact that he's way over the cap. He's got some great roster talent, way over the cap. I'm really unsure of the direction he's going in. I see Moo making a viable push for the playoffs right today, right now, number 10. Number 9, I got Judd. And Judd is good. Judd's improving. He's learning. And I don't want to say he's improving drastically, but he's understanding what the value is for some of these players. He made a big boo-boo early with trading Aaron Jones for the bag of balls I have in my shed. But he's improving. He got Henry. He shouldn't have traded me Kamara. I don't know why he did that. Henry's prone to take a step back. Almost 600 touches the last 2 years, more than 600 touches if you include the playoffs. So, not that he's going to get hurt. I don't wish injury upon anybody, but it's got to go backwards. Moving on. Uh, Number 9. Oh, got a text. Number 9, I got USA. And Zach Zaglitsky, great friend of mine, really turned around his organization after 2 years. But I think this year, what he's building is a little unknown to everybody. Um, he's got McCaffrey. McCaffrey is good for wins alone. He's got some other really good young talent. I just don't know if the clear cut firepower is there like it was previously. Um, he's in a division where I think he can thrive, and he has thrived. But right now, I got Zach. Number 7, I got Road Warriors and Chuck at 6 and 7. I got them in the same exact scenario because they don't know where they are. They have some good talent, but at the end of the day, you know what? I'm going to change that. At 7, I got Walt. I forgot Walt was on this list. And I think Walt is middle of the road. And here's why he's middle of the road. He's got an elite roster right now with maybe the worst GMing in the league, top to bottom. 5 years, worst GM. 5 years, $50 in earnings. 5 years, still can't figure it out. Only team to be in the league for 5 straight years and not make the playoffs. Wow. 6 and 5, you got Jared and Chuck. Both are playoff contenders. Both have some holes to fill in their roster. I'm convinced that Road Warriors has the capability to do so with their cap that they have available. I don't think Chuck will have as much cap, but Chuck's always been known to make a move or two around the draft, a surprising drop that maybe frees up some extra cap. So I could see Chuck, jumping up the leaderboard there. At number 4, I got Nick. Nick is in a good position. Let's throw the AB thing out the window. There's the trash can. Throw it in the trash. AB, not going to play. And if he does, if he gets signed, he's probably going to get suspended immediately for screaming at cops in the middle of the street. Not a good person. Needs a mental check. Maybe a lot of mental health days this year will do him some good. But Nick, right there at number 4, I think he's a playoff team. I think he has a good roster. Nick has proven 2 years in a row, that he doesn't draft really well. He takes some flyers on some guys. He definitely holds on to talent on his roster too long. Case in point, AJ Green. Dude didn't play a snap, and I think he kept him to like week 9 or 10, something crazy. And they added like 17 defenses for his playoff run, another mind-boggling thing. But I'll give him the credit based on the roster constructed. It's a 4. He probably will manage himself to be more like a 6. Number 3, I got Pat Rust. Pat Rust has got a lot of flack, a lot of shit talked, but he's done really good jobs consecutive off seasons. He just dismantles it. 2 years ago, he had a nice run at the end of the year with some good players and actually finished above 500. Didn't have a lot of points scored, but again, that doesn't matter based on who you talk to in this league. But 7-6 record, took a step back last year with a 6-7 record, maybe, or 5-8, I forget. But at the end of the day, hasn't gotten into the playoffs yet. Hasn't jumped over that hurdle. Has a good team. Love that he got Mahomes back and got rid of Watson. The D-Hop trade, not the best. I think he really would have done well with D-Hop, and I think if he fought hard enough, he probably could have got Kyler Murray and did that bundle from Walt. But at the end of the day, great roster, and I love it. Number two, I'm putting myself there because one, I haven't earned the respect to be number one in the regular season. I'm pretty much a middle of the road regular season guy um, for wins, not points scored. Again, based on who you talk to, I'm pretty good at points scored, not great at wins. Hold the phone. But number two, got a good roster, consistent roster. I think I have a roster right now that needs more depth and firepower. So who knows what my draft strategy is going to look like? Do I go add a Michael Thomas or a Zeke for a big dollar, or do I take some of those middle of the road guys to kind of bolster the starting lineup slash bench, and have some cap to play with? Because everyone knows I do best when I have some cap to play with and managing the waivers. But number two, and number one, I got to put my good friend Goat. He has proven time and time again that he will build a roster, whether it's a feeder team for some of the top talent in other organizations, like a BBW or a Gal. I think year one, maybe Chuck might have regretted a trade or two that he did with Mike, but Mike is able to capitalize on trades. He will start a guy. It's like the GOAT touch, the Midas touch. He touches a player, they turn to gold for 2 to 3 weeks, and then he ships them off for a surefire starter, a top 10 at their position. The other player kind of goes silver and bronze real quickly, and Mike's got that guy that sits right there at the top. The problem with Mike over the past couple of years is just the fact that he's had a great team and they stayed great. They didn't get real hot and take that next step in the playoffs. Obviously, his championship a few years ago, he was one of the best teams all year, along with Rusty. I just think he maybe has learned a thing or two that he might have to shake some things up or have some extra cap available to him at the end of the year in case he needs to go cock block a waiver ad, or add somebody just to have them on their bench to avoid from another roster possibly starting them, because the playoffs it starts all over. We know that. But Goat is my number one team. He probably will be my number one team through this offseason just because of his track record and the roster he has constructed. So last but not least, we did some rankings. I worked with the commissioner's office to put together a point system for the previous years, 1 through 5, and give people credit for wins, give people credit for points, give people credit for playoff appearances, playoff wins, championships, and runner-ups. And how we did it was we ranked each team each year by points, by wins, and then obviously the playoffs. And we've got some mind-boggling data, unbelievable data. And just to be mindful, Moo is a 4-year. I did not count 2019 towards Moo. That is full credit for BBW. Mike Bradley is not in part of it year one. So there's 10 teams in the first 3 years, 12 teams in the last 2. But coming in at number 12, the worst team in the GPDL organization for 5 years, with an all-in algorithm output standard deviation, whatever you want to call it, of 0.55. That is so bad. I mean, guys, I can't even explain to you how bad that is. He had a total of 30 points in 5 years. That means he averaged 6 points on my scale a year. It's almost, you could do that by accident if you drafted blindly and just click buttons. Unbelievable. 0.55. Whew. I get worked up talking about it. 0.55. Unbelievable. Walt, number 11. 0.64. Walt had years, finishes in our point scoring 6, 5, 8, 7, and 9, with a total of 35 points all in. Obviously, no playoff appearances have hurt him. No playoff wins have hurt him. But a consistent bottom third of the team. I think he was in the playoff conversation year 2 and year 3. Lost that week 13 matchup and just never got in. But 0.64, 35 points. That was 12-11. Number 10, 10th worst team in our league over 5 years. Gal. Gal with a 1.01. So he's in the ones, better than the point somethings. Points per year, 27, 12, 3, 6, and 7. Really just not great. He had that one great year of 27. He lost in the championship to Rusty. And since that game, I don't know if he will, something happened, but it sent him into an oblivion. And he has just not recovered. I mean, yeah, he got shifted from the AFC to the NFC. But man, he was once on top of this league. And no one can argue that he's on the bottom. Number 9, really going to be surprising, and I feel bad doing this, but number 9, based on the point system, is Moo. 1.14, 4 seasons. Moo really came out of the gate hot. He had a 21-point season, and then he had an 11 and a 10, and the reason was he got wins, not a lot of points. So again, he had an 8-win season and a 7-win season, and was bottom third of the league in points. So a little bit different there. But, he ended up with 48 points, an average of 1.14. Next, we have, actually, funny enough, both new guys, both 2-year guys. We got Nick and we got Pat. Nick is actually a 1.2 with 29 points. Pat is a 1.8 with 28 points. The reality is they're dead even. Nick's difference maker was the 1 point he got for making the playoffs this year. Pat does not have that. I think Pat will definitely exceed Nick, take over Nick this year because he's got a really quality team that should make some noise out there in the AFC West. Coming in at number 6, we got the Rocket. Red Chuck Rocket. Chuck Red Rocket. Whatever you want to say, I don't care. But Chuck's had one of the more consistent runs since our 5-year inauguration. He's had a 9-point year, not great. 30-point year is obviously his championship year in 2018. 15, 19, and then the worst year Chuck had, he was a 4. He was bottom in wins, bottom in points, with 77 total points, a 1.42 standard deviation there. Coming in at number 5, we got USA Zach Zaglinski, 1.44. This was close, and I'll tell you what, this is probably the most impressive number because he's the only person in the top 5 without a championship. Pretty surprising. He took over Chuck. Shows how good Zach Zaglinski's been in the regular season. Zach had a 22, a 22, a 24, and obviously years 1 and 2, 5 points a year. Not ideal, but he ended up with 78 points, 1.44, just edging out one of our 5 champions and Red Rockets. Number 4, you probably guessed it, myself. Over the top. I had some good years. I've never not missed the playoffs. Year 1 made the championship against Jared. 28, my championship year. 16, 16, 23 year 1 and 12. 95 points, 1.76. So a big gap from the top 4 to 5 and 6. Number 3, Sean Rust. And this is just mind-boggling because Rusty had the second worst season ever in fantasy in our league, and the best season by far. He had a 28, a 30, a 3, a 6, and a 36. The 36 season, his second year in the league, is the best season we've ever seen in this league. It's probably the best season we'll ever have in this league. With 103 points, a 1.9 score. Number 2, I'm as surprised as everyone else is. I know he's been the model of consistency. It doesn't pain me to say it. I just think it's a little bit of a skewed number. Road Warriors, number 2. And the problem with Road Warriors is he hasn't had many great years. He hasn't had any bad years. We've all had a bad year except for Mike Bradley. So Road Warriors 20, 19, 19, 30, his championship year in 19. So he's always like the 4th, 5th, or 6th ranked team all in the league. He's never missed the playoffs either. He's got that championship in year one. Hasn't been back to the finals since year one, and I think Road Warriors is looking to change that. 1.98 for Road Warriors. And last but not least, we got Mike Bradley, the GOAT. Only GM in the league to have over a 2 in our scoring system. 15 year one. Since year one, 35 his championship year, 24 and 25. 99 points over 4 years. That's a 2.25 score. I don't know if anyone's catching that anytime soon, unless Rusty has a kind of crazy year or Jared wins another championship. But that is the scoring. The numbers don't lie, people. It's a well thought out system. Again, ranked you on wins each year, ranked you on points each year, ranked you on playoff appearances, playoff wins, championships, and runner ups. So that's what we got. You can argue it all you want. I'm sure this is great ammo for good debate on GroupMe. Don't at me. Don't text me. The data, the stats don't lie. Deal with the rankings. Again, these are preliminary. Where we're at right now, a lot of that will shuffle. They don't really mean shit. This is just entertaining and fun. So if anyone has a problem with it, go fuck yourself and have a good day.